Hello everyone, Acres Greenbed, your residential garden guru here, and today I'd like to tell you about 10 vegetables that will do well in container gardens, and, as a bonus, 4 handy tips for container gardening. A lot of us have limited space, so container gardens are a great option if you want to grow your own food. And who doesn't want to do that? I'm going to pack this video with tons of valuable information, so be sure and watch it all the way through. Seriously. If you click off before number 3, your life will forever be dramatically different having not learned about this veggie that does surprisingly well in a container. Container gardens are handy for a few reasons. The obvious being you don't need a yard, just some deck or patio space, a front porch, maybe a shared common space at your condo building. Heck, Uncle Danny's broken down old pickup truck can hold several containers for gardening. You guys have an Uncle Danny, right? Point being, containers for growing vegetables can be placed almost anywhere. You just need some sun, water, and fertilizer. Oh, and potting soil and the plant, of course. Okay, I'm rambling. You get the point. Let's get going. Number 10, eggplant. Bet you didn't think I was going eggplant for the first option on this list, but yeah, I went there. Eggplants can work well in containers, and they're not half bad to look at either. Eggplants totally work as an ornamental plant, as well as a veggie that's delightful to eat. In fact, they're so pretty, I don't mind having my eggplant on full display on the front porch. Some important facts about eggplants. Certain varieties can be overly dense and heavy. Look for compact varieties, like Fairytale and Hansel. These grow in a more bush-like pattern. You'll need a fairly large container to support the root system of this hefty vegetable. Eggplants can be raised in zones 5 through 12 and need full sun. So there you go, number 10, eggplants. Now for a quick tip about container gardening. Tip number 1 about container gardening is they will dry out faster in warm temperatures than your in-ground garden beds. Be sure and watch those moisture levels, people. Number 9, lettuce and salad greens. I love growing these in containers. It's easier to control pests when growing in containers, and depending on the variety of your local climate, you can move them in and out of shade as needed. Some great salad greens and mesclun mixes you can buy for container gardens that taste great and look good in decorative pots include Johnny's Elegance Green Mix and Hudson Valley Seed Company's Mesclun Mix. Chop them down when you're ready to eat, but don't pull the roots. Many varieties will regrow several times over in one season. Lettuce varieties range from zones 4 to 9 and usually do best in partial sun. Remember that part about being able to move the container around? It comes in handy. Next veggie well suited for container gardening. Number 8, potatoes. This one might be obvious to some and surprising to others. You know what a trendy thing to do these days is? Grow potatoes in 5-gallon buckets. Seriously, it's a thing. Look it up. You can't get much more economical than a 5-gallon bucket for container gardening, and it really does work well. There are tons of videos out there about growing your potatoes in 5-gallon buckets. I'll link to one in the description. But remember, my links only work if you subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, and like this video. Sorry, that's just how it works, people. You know you want to subscribe anyway, so it's really a win-win. Back to the potatoes. You obviously don't have to use buckets. Feel free to choose any suitable container. Growing potatoes in containers has several advantages. You can custom mix the loamy soil they require, and it adds a layer of protection against blight. And you don't want blight. Just ask the Irish. Potatoes do well in a wide variety of climate zones, all the way down to zone 3B, although having them in containers does make them more vulnerable to cold temperatures. On to the next veggie you're going to want to try in a container garden. Number 7, beans. Beans come in a couple different styles. There are bush beans and pole beans. These styles don't actually affect the beans per se, but how the plant itself grows. Pole beans need a support structure to grow up, like a trellis. Bush beans are more compact and, in my opinion, well suited to container gardening. You can certainly stick a trellis in your container and let the pole beans you planted climb away, but that does require more space and attention. A variety of beans you might want to check out is called porch pick. Nice name, huh? Talk about a plant designed for container gardening. Depending on the variety, beans can grow to maturity in zones 2 through 11. Container gardening tip number 2. It might seem obvious, but make sure you've got plenty of drainage. One year, halfway through the season, I noticed my tomato pot had standing water on the surface. Yep, I was one of those people who assumed there were drainage holes when there were not. Luckily, I tipped it over, drilled a few holes, and ended with plenty of rosy aromas for my wife's tomato sauce. Speaking of tomatoes, let's get on to number 6 on our list. Number 6, tomatoes, of course. I got my start container gardening with tomatoes. We have more afternoon sun on the front side of our house, but no space for a veggie garden in the front, so I put out several containers of tomatoes on the porch, and they took off. Most tomatoes will need a cage or staking for support, so be sure to take that into consideration when planting tomatoes in containers. There are bush varieties like bush beefsteak or bush early girl. These varieties do maintain a more compact size while producing plenty of tomatoes, but even the bush varieties may need some extra support. With a name like beefsteak, those tomatoes are going to get heavy. Tomatoes need plenty of sunshine and frequent watering. They're also cold sensitive, so be sure to put them outside after the last frost and don't expect them to survive when the frost returns. I think I'll do a video exclusively on tomatoes soon. When I was younger and taking greenhouse management classes, I got to maintain the hydroponic tomato setup they had. Some of those tomatoes were over 30 feet long. That was impressive. Container tip number 3, you're going to need more fertilizer than if you were to plant them directly in the ground. The reason might seem obvious to some, but it's okay if it's not obvious to you. I'll link an article in the description about container gardening. Just be sure and subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to read it. Comment below if you'd like another container gardening video going into more detail about how best to grow veggies in containers. Number 5, radishes. Boy, there's really nothing like a fresh picked radish, is there? And radishes will happily grow in the smallest containers. Spread some seeds in a pot and give them plenty of water, and you'll be biting into fresh radishes in no time. Well, 25 days or so, but that's no time in a veggie garden. Radishes will grow in zones 2 to 10, but watch out for frost. Number 4, I'm going to throw in a curveball here and say squash. I don't know how many of you would have expected that, but squash can do really well in containers. It's an easy to grow vegetable, but does require a reasonably large container and space around the container to grow. Be sure to avoid the giant varieties as they can end up tipping your entire container over. Squash prefers full sun, rich soil with good drainage, and a USDA zone 3 to 10. If you like squash but never thought you'd have space for it, you should give this a try. Okay, I've got another container tip for you, and it's this. The more soil, the better. Sometimes people have rather large containers and fill the bottom half of the container with, well, filler, from rocks to bricks to even old junk. The idea being you'll save on potting soil, but the plants you plant use the soil to thrive, and the more room you have for them to spread their roots, the better. The lesson here, don't skimp on soil and your veggies will have a better chance to thrive. All right, next veggie. Number 3. Hey, look at that, you made it to number 3. Just like I asked. Boy, that sure is awesome. You're awesome. Can we be friends? What's that? You want me to get on with the video? Sorry. Right, my bad. Contrary to popular belief, zucchinis do well in containers. No joke, true story. In fact, if you stick around to the end, I'll give you another bonus veggie you'll be shocked does well in containers too. Zucchini has quite the reputation in gardens. Notorious for growing too quickly, there are all sorts of gardening memes on the internet about zucchini growing larger overnight. Careful how you Google that. But if you're attentive to your zucchini and harvest them at a reasonable size, they really do quite well as a container plant. Try to plant your zucchini in a container at least 24 inches in diameter with a minimum depth of 12 inches. Those voracious veggies are heavy feeders, so mix in plenty of compost and plan to fertilize them throughout the season. They will also need well-draining soil and full sun. Zucchinis can grow in zones 4 to 10. Number 2, carrots. I have this vague memory from when I was a kid of this cartoon where a farmer had planted carrots and some animal dug a tunnel under the carrots and pulled each one down into their tunnel and ran off with the harvest. Does anybody remember that? I was trying to Google it for this video, but I couldn't find it. Comment below if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I think there was some truth in that cartoon, and if that farmer had put his carrots in a container, he wouldn't have had to deal with that problem. Carrots do very well in containers. They're a cool weather crop and can be planted early in the season. Just remember, carrots grow down into the soil. Unlike radishes that can grow in rather small containers, carrots need deep containers to grow down into, at least 8 inches. But let's be honest, 10 to 12 inches would be better, right? I said it so you don't have to. Carrots need full sun and regular watering. The roots can't dry out or else they will begin to split and your harvest may be ruined. They can grow to harvest in USDA zones 3 through 10 with ease. I highly recommend growing your own carrots. So good. And we've made it to our final veggie on the list. Number 1, peppers. I've only ever grown my peppers in containers. Part of the reason is peppers love the sun. Ideally, they'll get 8 to 10 hours a day during the summer. Growing peppers in a container allows you to move the pot around if you don't have one spot that gets 10 hours of sun. Most peppers can grow to full harvest in zones 5 through 11. They absolutely require good drainage, no standing water whatsoever, but need consistent watering. Well, there you go. 10 veggies that do great in containers. Thanks for... what's that? Oh, I did promise a bonus veggie, didn't I? Well, thanks for sticking around this far into the video to find out. It really is awesome, I'm telling you. We should be friends. Some of you might be shocked by this, but my bonus container veggie for you is... pumpkins. Yep, you heard me, and I'm sticking by it. They really can do well in containers. So what do you guys think? Which vegetables did I miss? Are there any you disagree with me about? Chime in the comments. As I end this video, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to the legend Dave Lambert, the world's greatest high school horticulture teacher. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications because one Garden Guru video is never enough. I'm Acres Greenbed, turning thumbs green, one video at a time. Wishing everyone happy gardening.